For so long, we've been here, we've been trying to break.
When you are born, you cried, and the world rejoiced. Live your life so that when you die, the world cries and you rejoice. This is a Cherokee proverb. And with that, I welcome you to the greatest program here in GH that focuses on having fun and yet learning very important lessons. My name is Comfort Okran. Today, we are going to focus on how when one lives an industrious and prolific life, when you move on to other areas or some other parts of your life, or even when you pass on, you have lived such an impactful life. People just cannot say that we are no longer there. And therefore, we will be talking about personal and workplace productivity. We will be privileged to hang out with special experts and coaches who would help us to travel along this journey. You know, our guest for today is Chris Diaba. He is an executive coach with expansive background in personal development, in HR, and everything in between. So you can know without any shadow of doubt that today is the day. We will be going for a short break. When we return, it's going to be all about personal and workplace productivity. For those who are listening to us or watching us presently, I would encourage you, can you send us your messages, your notes? If you want to learn anything from Chris, please give us your questions and we will make sure that we answer them during this program. Most importantly, call a friend, reach out to someone and tell the person that is going down today and therefore the person must not miss out. We'll be back after this short break. Please don't go anywhere.
He's a return around.
Oh, yeah. Never thought that I could make it this far, despite all wrongs and all my scars. Grace and your mercy brought me this far, this far. I thought that I could do it on my own, but now I see that I am all alone. How alone I am before your throne. I wronged you, but you loved me. You took my sin, you made it history. I tell you, I was just like you, yes, I was confused. Like, what are the things I'm supposed to do? Oh, yeah. But you keep coming back, you keep forgiving me. You make your life brand new, for make you believe. Oh, he loves you, yeah. Can't you see? I wronged you, but you loved me. You took my sin, you made it history. I wronged you, but you loved me. You took my sin, you made it history. I wronged you, but you loved me. You took my sin, you made it history. I'm just like any other person, but you still flatter me with love on a silver platter. I'm just like any other person, but you still flatter me with love on a silver platter. I'm just like any other person, but you still flatter me with love on a silver platter. I wronged you, but you and you made it history. Thought that I could make it this far with all my scars, but I guess it was a lie, 'cause I needed you, yeah. I wronged you, but you loved me. You took my sin and you made it history, yeah.
Get me York's rent-a-car. I need a car in 15 minutes. Hi, I'm Jake Morris, and I travel globally. But when I'm in Ghana, York's Rent-A-Car is my reliable choice for safety and comfort on the road. York's Rent-A-Car provides comprehensive logistics services to mainly blue-chip companies as well as individual clients.
At a time we needed a car rental service, and York's fitted in very well per our standards.
Their services is top-notch. Drivers are on time.
It was beautiful to see them behind the wheels. And anytime they pick up a guest, the guests were very, very happy.
Already? Excellent. York's Rent-A-Car provides services and expertise that include meet and greet services at the airport, car rental, driver personal outsourcing, and vehicle detailing. What's the problem? It's you. I told you. York's Rent-A-Car delivers world-class service to its customers, having their highest safety and comfort in mind. So watch you. Go over open for him. York's Rent-A-Car runs 24/7 operations where customers can make car reservations and inquiries of our services online and also call our hotline.
He's a return around.
During our break, we saw Jeffany, my sweetheart, who is in Wesley Girls, just finished Wesley Girls, and she was just doing her bit. And I would ask Chris what he thinks about Jeffany. But Chris is an executive coach that is passionate about nurturing people to be better versions of themselves. So who else can talk about personal and workplace productivity than Chris? He is also the leadership facilitator with a leading organization in Ghana. And then he has a strong passion from teaching, mentoring, and coaching. And Chris is married with Patience. He's married to Patience with 4 beautiful, adorable girls. When you see the Chris's girls, you fall in love with them. But anyway, so to today's program that we are having today, Chris, welcome to Springboard Hangout.
Thank you for having me.
And what do you think about Jeffany?
I was just listening to her and I was just wowed, and I'm asking myself, thinking about talent, thinking about development, many times we are caught in, I need to go to school, and when I finish school, I need to go and work in the office. But I'm seeing something that's incredible for somebody who just finished SHS. Jeffany is going somewhere.
Oh, she definitely is, because that is just her raw talent without any mixing or anything. This was in our studios, in our former studios. Anyway, so as we promised our listeners and viewers today, we are talking about personal and workplace productivity. So my first question is, why is such a topic important?
Imagine and I'm thinking about my teenage days, right? Mm-hmm. You think about those days and living with my old folks. Mm-hmm. The old man sees you and you're not active. He says, hey, get cracking. So everybody knows that get cracking means that find something to do. That's on the lighter side. But if you don't focus on making something out of yourself, personally, your value will be impacted. Your self-confidence and self-esteem is impacted. Okay. In addition to that, you're also generating income and making yourself feel that this me is going somewhere, it's worth something. So I think productivity helps our self to be better selves. Okay. It helps us to be able to have income that we can use. Okay. And the less productive you are, the more helpless you'd find yourself.
The less productive you are, the more helpless you would find yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So that implies that this is a very important discussion that we are having here.
So important. And I'm hoping that people would pick something from it, and let's make it happen.
Yeah. And by the way, this is going to be a 4-part series, so we would have time to go into the nitty-gritty. So let's start from the beginning, because I always find that when I understand the ball that I'm playing with, whether it's football or hockey, which I played both anyway, guys. I played hockey and football. The other day, Albert was saying that, why is it nowadays you don't play hockey again? I was like, guy, do you know where we are? Anyway, so if you know the kind of balls, you know the kind of rules, or the kind of the kind of tools you use to get the goals that are needed. And therefore, let's start from the beginning. What is personal productivity?
Remember that when we talk about productivity, you're talking about combining the inputs, relevant inputs, so as to get some ultimate outcomes.
Okay, so that's
right?
basic productivity.
Yes. So you put the resources together. Okay. Personal productivity, 2 words. Personal and productivity. We've talked about productivity already. Personal has to do with the 4 fingers that are pointing at you when you are pointing at somebody else.
You know,
so personal productivity has to do with how you are able to combine all the resources, knowledge, experience, talent, skills, to be able to make something worthwhile.
Okay.
Now, that for me is at the simplest form. So you're not looking at personal productivity in terms of I go to an office to work, you're looking at personal productivity in terms of sweating. But in very basic form, being able to see what resources you have available to you, putting them together, combining them in some great way to get some outcome that is of value, of worth.
Fantastic. So that is personal in terms of you having the tools or the resources to ensure that when you do your stuff, when you do your magic, something productive is, or something good comes out.
So
if we extrapolate that and go to the workplace, how does that look like in terms of workplace productivity?
Fabulous. So we take the person who is aspiring to be productive, put him in a setting, which is a workplace.
Yeah.
The workplace will include other people.
Yeah.
The workplace is for a particular purpose. We want to achieve something at the end. If the workplace is where we're selling wache, there's some expected outcome.
Yeah.
Right?
The wache had better be good, because I mean, for me, wache without pepper is not wache without pepper and
Willy.
Thank you.
Willy.
Yes,
it's very important.
It's very important. So if they come, if you get there to buy and they say the Willy is finished, they haven't produced well. Okay, let's continue.
You know, but the thing that I always remind people about is that with all my desire to be productive as a person, when I get into the workplace, I have to recognize that productivity is within a context.
Okay.
The work wants to achieve something. That's what their understanding of productivity is.
Okay.
And I show up in that place. I have a role to play towards that expected outcome.
Right.
So that's where my personal productivity put in the workplace is, then I can say that I'm productive in the workplace.
Right. So first, you are a person who is able to bring things out, good things that are good. Then you go to a workplace, but your workplace must dovetail into the goals and aspirations, the mission of the organization. So you can't be productive in a workplace that is at. If I'm getting you, I can't be productive in a workplace, but my productivity is against the interests of the organization.
Spot on.
There must be convergence between my personal productivity and the outputs that I generate in the workplace to ensure that the organization works. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. So I can take myself Correct.
You're on the journey.
Fantastic. Okay, then. So then we have understood workplace productivity. I mean, what workplace productivity is. We've looked at personal productivity. So then, if we say that we are in a workplace, and when we look at the people that we work with, we can see that they are not being productive, or the productivity level is quite low. Where does the organization come in to help improve workplace productivity?
Interesting question. And it's interesting because I think that many times a lot of people's understanding of productivity, or a lot of people's understanding of work, is a location.
Say that again.
People think that I go to work.
Okay.
Right? But it's not about I go to work. It's about I work. You know? And so if I am in an organization, in a place where I am expected to work,
Yeah.
the location is not what will make me work.
Okay.
And the location should not be what makes me work. It's the mindset I have that I must generate something profitable. Right? So that's the scenario I'm coming from. Now, what does the organization do? There are a number of things to consider. Do the people even know what this thing called work means for them? Do the people know what the productivity in the organization really means? You know, because you see, if I show up in the YHSLS place and there's a long queue, and I said I am there to work, and there are plates to be watched, and the wele is finished, we have to go and get some from the room or somewhere, and I'm there to work, and I'm not doing anything. Just being there doesn't make the difference. The organization, or in this case, Haja Memuna, should be telling me that, Charlie, go and bring the wele. If you don't think that you want to be here, then just find somewhere to go. So the mindset for being there is the first thing to remember. The other thing beyond the mindset is, do I even know what I am supposed to do?
Okay.
Because I've shown up there. That may be good enough for me. I have a mind to work. But if my zeal and my passion to work is not aligned to what the ultimate productivity of the organization is, then we'll be working in different directions. So the mindset to work, one, knowing what I'm supposed to do is the second one. The third one, knowing whether I'm doing it well or not.
Okay. Okay.
Because you see, I may be busy trying to do something and I have the mindset to do it. I know that this is what I expected outcome is. Charlie, all that I'm doing, nothing for me.
Nothing to inside.
So the mindset to work, knowing what that work or the expected output is, and then being consistently giving feedback that you are on what we're expecting you to do. You are achieving what we're expecting you to achieve.
When you said the mindset to work, it kind of brought me to our present era where we have people who are now working remotely. And therefore, we are no longer in the present workplace only. We have some people who, in some organizations, it is half of the work staff who have gone out to work at home. Therefore, somebody who is now working remotely, how does a person engage her space? Or how do we ensure that the productivity at the home or wherever you choose to work, maybe the person works from a cafe or something, how do we ensure that the total organizational output does not, what do you call it? suffer because we are not together and we can see each other and somebody's holding the whip behind you to ensure that you are working as you are on your way. Apart from the mindset, how do we handle the remote working space?
Now, we've moved from the scenario where, like we mentioned, work is a place you go. It is something you do.
Something you do.
Yes. So that's where we're starting from. The mindset bit we've already talked about. In the past, for a number of people, showing up at work was enough. And so the presenteeism was big for them. The fast forward to this point where what we are now dealing with is you no longer need to show up in a location to work. You have the tools that are necessary. Ultimately, what we want is to deliver the results.
Okay.
So all the other things that will result in the expected outcomes, I must do them in such a way that I still can deliver on those expected outcomes, even when I'm not in the workplace.
Excellent.
It would involve being aware of the tools that are needed to make that happen. It would involve being aware of the time frame available to make that happen.
Yeah.
It would involve in being able to minimize distractions or distractors that will get in the way. And as for the detractors and the distractions,
we have a whole session on that. And one of our series would just look at how do we minimize distractions in this series, because we want to make sure that is something that we can work with and start using it as soon as possible.
Right away.
Yeah, please go on.
So with those things in mind, I have to recognize what it is that is expected of me, whether there's somebody present or not. And I now have to find that there's a greater responsibility on me to deliver those outcomes that were expected of me compared to the previous time where I'm with a crowd in the workplace. I can hang on because ultimately I know that comfort will sort me out.
Somebody is willing to do the work, whether nobody's because the work must be done.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you're going to be working on your own and you're not going to deliver, you'll be exposed very quickly.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
You'll be exposed very quickly because you'll find that, like one of my bosses in a country that shall remain anonymous will say, this no be big grammar.
I think I can guess the country.
I'm not saying.
You plead the fifth.
So those are some of the things you have to remember, that there's a big responsibility on me to be able to deliver those outcomes, even when I can't see somebody around me asking me, have you delivered on the work or am I delivering on the work? Because really, ultimately, you have to earn your salary. Don't forget that earlier we talked about how this impacts your self-worth. So if you're not delivering on it, unless you didn't intend to deliver anyway, pretty soon your self-worth will be impacted.
Okay.
Your output would show.
Okay.
There are many times, if you're doing something well,
and
you keep doing it, it becomes a habit.
Yeah.
And if you're not delivering up to it, you can sense that something is not up there.
True. Because I think one of my best days are when I'm able to land an account or to maybe send a very important email or something. And that day, I feel like I am on cloud 9.
Yeah.
I mean, as the big boys would say, the dopamine that day is through the roof because I feel I have conquered the world. But the days that I don't know beach. That day, you go home feeling that the whole world is on your shoulders.
Yeah.
So I definitely align with this your thoughts that Charlie, it's not just working. It's more about the kind of impact your work has on you yourself.
Yeah.
First, and then your organization.
Yeah.
So we must look at ways that we can enjoy our work.
Enjoy our work, drive ourselves.
And drive ourselves.
Yes.
Enjoy our work and drive yourselves. Guys, I beg, in this instance, we're talking about enjoying ourselves and driving the work. Those are two things that we must have at the back of our mind in these times. I just also want to underlay this with one quote from Robin Sharma. He says that we live in a world where focus is more valuable than even your intelligence. Focus being more valuable than your intelligence. Focusing on your work and coming to the work and saying, "No, I have this degree and I have that degree and I have that degree," and yet you are the one that is not delivering most. Your focus is all over the place.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work.
You have become the butterfly.
Please, I beg you. I didn't say it. It was Chris who said it. This one don't have any of these things in me. And I want you to keep it to send your questions because you can see this series is a very important one. I want you to share your comments and your questions with us so that we can share with it as we go along. Right, Chris. So now let's go to look at we've looked at some of the should I say the bad sides of no productivity, but what are the benefits of either personal or workplace productivity?
Lots of benefits.
Tell us.
We scratched a bit around that. Let's start with self.
Okay.
The example you gave, the way when I have been able to deliver on that outcome, I feel good. Is one, your reputation is built, and I had one former boss who said to me, "Christian, you are as good as your last assignment."
Fantastic. True.
So your reputation is built on what you have delivered. And so that helps to create, in this sense, a name, or if you would prefer, brand for yourself. And I like to play around with people when I talk about some of these things often, and I tell them, "Did you hear that last 2 months there was a business news on Richard Quest talking about the fact that Mercedes-Benz is going into mobile phone production?" And so the question is, if it's not come out yet, but if you were to think about the kind of mobile phones Mercedes would produce, what comes to your mind?
Wow.
And then people talk about reliability, talk about sleek, and talk about how this will be durable, it'll be of some class. And then at that point I said, okay, so let me just pause you and point out to you that Mercedes did not make any such announcement. However, immediately I said that to you, what you did is that you took your perception of Mercedes and planted it on a mobile phone. So the name precedes, Yeah. Now, what it is that many of us have forgotten that what I deliver at the end is tagged against me.
Yeah.
Just like how on Facebook I'll tag somebody or on Twitter I'll tag somebody for something I've said.
Yeah.
Pretty soon, people would know that if you mention the name so and so, this is what
the kind of output you would get.
You would get.
Whoa.
Now, move on to the organization. Together, when we deliver, it results in what, if it's revenues, what the revenues of the organization is.
Yeah.
And you work for the organization, it gets revenues. It will show in your pocket.
Yeah.
Right? Apart from that, again, reputation is built for the organization. Immediately, for example, back to our Wache example, if somebody says, "Charlie, I want Wache," then people will say, "Hey, Charlie, there's some Wache somewhere."
Seriously, and that word of mouth is worth gold.
It's massive. It's massive. And if you Oprah used to do a program called Oprah's Special or something.
Okay.
You know, and all Oprah needs to do is to say that I use the iPad, and by the end of the day, they are
sold out
yes.
from various stores.
Yes. So that's what it's about. That whole program is just about the things that she promotes and her favorites. And the thing is that it's because something has been created.
A brand,
yes.
a well-class brand, personal brand, by the way.
Yes.
It's not a company, it's a personal brand.
Brand.
But she's built other supporting systems around the brand. But it is her person
that is carrying that. Charlie, so just imagine. And for me, my passion is, what if all of us, the youth, the middle age, are focused on creating a personal brand?
Not on our dressing, but on our productivity.
On what we can deliver on. You know, because you see, many times when, and somebody said that when you go to some place where they are providing you service and they say, oh, don't worry, it actually means you must be very worried.
Cristiano, baby. But it's true. So this is like a tailor or a seamstress, and you go and you send your dress and they'll say, oh, come back in 2 weeks' time. And you go back in even 3 weeks. And still, they haven't even cut the material to start doing your work.
You are fortunate if even they remember where they put your material. So it's I think it's really what it is.
Yeah.
You know, the benefits for us, the benefits for the organization, the benefits beyond the organization.
Yeah. Guys, I mean, the conversation is so interesting, and we can see that Chris is really making it so practical for us. It's not about just going to a place to work. It's about you, the individual, and how you are able to use the things that you have to produce what you are supposed to produce. And so we will be going on a break. When we return from that break, our game changer break, Chris will continue. And I've received some of your notes from us. And Ajua from Kaswa says, wow, this is so interesting, as well as Sebastian, who is tuning in from Kumasi, who says that I really, really needed this. Thank you so much. We'll be right back.
He's always turning around.
He's fat, he's lazy, and his first touch is horrible. These were the critiques aimed at Romelu Lukaku during his final season at Manchester United. That year, the team underperformed, and with a 50% lower scoring rate and no assists in his last 37 games, Lukaku became an easy scapegoat. Losing the coach's trust and being abused by the fans was tough. Something had to give. Today, our game changer is changing environment. Reflecting on his struggles at United, Lukaku concluded, I was not performing well. I had to find what I was lacking, and I came to the conclusion that it was time for me to change environment. And so he did. In 2019, Lukaku moved to Inter Milan in a big money transfer, but the team's playing style was completely different to United's. He played with a partner instead of alone, and he was getting the ball in the box 20% more than he used to. He even started a fish-based diet, which saw him go from 9 pounds overweight to shedding 16 pounds. It's easy to argue about what has changed, but one thing is clear. Inter are playing to Lukaku's strengths, and he's paying them back. He was their top scorer with 21 goals and led the league with 10 assists, as Inter won their first league title in 11 years. We all have bad days, but when there are too many in a row, it might be a sign that we're not in the right place. Life is too short to be a square peg in a round hole. It's time to find your perfect fit. This has been the Game Changer with Jojo Okran. Have a phenomenal week.
He's a turnaround.
Welcome back from the Game Changer with Jojo Okran. And Chris, in terms of with what we started with an overview of personal and workplace productivity, what would you say about Lukaku and the what Jojo just spoke to us about?
Isn't it interesting that
yeah.
listening to this, my mind goes back to the fact that just a month ago it was signed by Chelsea for
I know, right? I don't know why they
million.
Why did they go for him? And I know I have some Lukaku shots to send to the Man U fans. The Chelsea fans, because they went for a guy. Anyway, yes.
But it's to his credit that he recognizes where his mistakes are.
Exactly.
And then he works at it.
Yeah.
And the results showed with Inter.
Yeah.
So much so that the value that was placed on him is almost 100 million.
Yeah.
And if there's anything we have learned from just listening to Lukaku, is the fact that you can make the shift from being seen as not being as productive as you are to very productive.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know what the Chelsea and Man U fans will be saying when Chelsea plays Man U.
We know what he will say. At least we, the Man U fans, we know what to tell the Chelsea people.
It is clear that they will bring videos of his past.
Oh yeah. No. It's not the videos of his past too. It is more about the way they abused him when he was at Man U. So now that he's with them, and we'll see if indeed he's as useless as they said he was.
Well, time will tell.
Time will tell. But I believe he would have a good season with them.
But I think the most remarkable thing to carry away is the decision, or if you like, the mind to not remain unproductive and to do a self-reflect, to say that I've got to make a change and actually move from the self-reflection to action and making it happen. Right.
So we do have some questions for you. They are enjoying you, and then the question, they are like, wow, this is so interesting, and so on and so forth. And Anna from Roman Ridge is saying that how, and that is a very important, how do I align my aspirations with the goals of the company that I work for? That's Anna from Roman Ridge.
Great question, Anna. And here's my response. I find that when I've had coaching sessions with a number of people, particularly younger people, they don't even seem to be clear on what their goals are.
Okay.
So what do you want to achieve is what we have called goal. You know, and so in finding what I want to achieve, I must find that connection between what I want to achieve and what the organization wants to achieve. And then the next step is do the connection. Because that way, all you do is you do what your passion is, you're having fun, and you're paid for having fun.
Fantastic. I mean, there's nothing more interesting than enjoying yourself and being paid for.
And being paid for it. I'm telling you.
Exactly. Okay. Ifya from New York is saying, I will build my personal brand around productivity. I will not focus only on my dressing. Oh, that is very hard for me to hear. Yeah.
But you know what I like about that?
Yeah,
I'll not focus only on my dressing.
Yes.
Just say, as for the dressing there, I have to make sure. But
So the dressing also plays a part.
Yes, I'll dress good.
Yeah.
And I'll produce good.
And then this is productivity plus dressing equals increase. Work well plus personal brand equals increased productivity.
Sure.
It's a Springboard Hangout equation. You will find it in the. Mark Anthony says that, is it right for me to use my talent or skills when my job description does not require me to do so? Is it right for me to use my talent or skills when my job description does not require me to do so?
Lovely, eh? And I like the question because
exactly.
It is one of the things you would consistently experience where this is what my job description is.
Yeah.
And so I know I'm capable of more. But my job description says keep this in your focus. But you see, if you do only what is expected of you, nobody will remember you.
If you do what is only what is expected of you, nobody will remember you.
Think about the word we all are familiar with, extraordinary.
Yeah.
It is, in plain sense, ordinary doing extra. So immediately you think about it that way, then what you've got to realize is that this is what your job description is. You're delivering on your job description and more because you have the skills to do it. Our current world of work is such that if you're seen to be just a one-track person, pretty soon we won't need you.
Oh, yeah. It's true.
In addition to what I deliver, I must be able to show that I have the capacity and the capability to do X, Y, Z. And so, very often, when I'm needed, it is not just for what I do, but the more. And you'll be surprised, there are people who would get promotions because they did more. Otherwise, what's it all about? I'll do my job, I tick the box, I go home. When we have scenarios where people need to be made redundant, the tick the box people are the easy target.
Tick the box and you are boxed out.
You know?
Okay, I wouldn't be that unkind. But definitely must move beyond ticking the box.
Oh, you will still be boxed out. That's not being unkind.
Right. Okay. And so Ifya has sent another comment. It says that I will dress good and I will produce good. Got it. I love that. I love that. The spirit is just sweet. It's just sweet. It's just sweet. Right. So there's one thing that you were saying when you gave the Wache example is the fact that we have when we have people who are not producing well in terms of, so this is somebody who is ticking the box, but it's not ticking the box well, because that person is just supposed to make sure that they don't run out of the things they need to sell. So like eggs, wele, talia, ripe plantain, very soft ripe plantain, and that kind of stuff. He refills it. And therefore, if he's not focused on his job, he's just taking the boxes. It's very easy to replace him, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So that's a very practical example. If you're not doing your talia and your wele and that kind of stuff, and when I come there and I have to wait, and I complain to Madam will just say, hey, whether Kwesi or Ajua, why are you not doing your work? Okay, bye-bye. So please refill my wele when there's a need to do so. And the church will say, amen.
Amen.
Thank you very much. Okay, so One of the things that part of our audience, some of them are very young businesses. So how do they engage their team how do they ensure that they are businesses? And some of them are CEOs of a company of 2.
You see?
Yes. So how do they ensure that their companies they are being productive? Because you're a company of 2. So sometimes you don't have those productivity tools that you use. You don't even have an HR person and so on and so forth. So how do such young companies concern themselves with making being productive part of their DNA?
It starts from recognizing that if your company is young and you don't have all those people, there is what all of us would aim at doing. We all have to put our shoulders to the wheel. The first step, I'm the front office executive, not receptionist, front office executive.
Okay.
After I've received you, I shift on to become the person who is the operations manager. And so being able to, first of all, not get stuck in one role and say, this is what is expected of me. Secondly, being clear about what our outcome is or what our goals are as a company of 2. Because it could be that many times what happens is that the main man in the company has some exceptional skill, which is what draws people. It's the pull factor.
Yeah.
You can't keep doing that perpetually.
Yeah, true.
So sharing those skills, supporting people to understand and be able to pick up some of the skills you have. In fact, having the kind of people who would be willing and sharp enough to pick up some of the skills. And moving from there to delivering over and above what people expect of you. So you'd find a company that looks huge, you go and there are just 3 people. And the 3 people are turning things around in such an incredible manner. You may not have all the tools of technology, but at the basic level, you know that this is what we are supposed to achieve. So these are the things you bring to the table. And having like-minded people around you, which is a rare one, is then how you support yourself to become better at what people expect of you, as well as add something extra. But in having something extra, don't talk about this is my portfolio and that's all I'll do. Move yourself around. Keep moving yourself around. Keep plugging all the holes. Looking out for problems to be solved. And then you keep making progress.
Chris, that is a beautiful note to end the first segment of personal and workplace productivity.
So soon.
That's what happens when you're having fun.
So much fun.
So much fun. I mean, we've come to the end of today's program, and that's a beautiful way to end it today. And so, my dear friends, you realize that personal productivity is more about you, and not just you, but just looking at what tools you have, what inputs or what has been given to you to do or to work with, and what you churn out. As Robin Sharma said, as that Cherokee program that I began the today's program with, it's not a case of just living, but live such that on the personal level, when you pass away, when you move from where you are, people will cry that why did she have to leave or why did he have to live? And when you leave your workplace to I don't encourage you to leave your workplace, but maybe a better opportunity came up, so I can understand that, you see. But when you leave that place, you make sure that people will be like, that was a really good work person that we had. And also, so we've come to the end. But I want to promise you, this discussion is going on. So next week, we will be in this same place, enjoying ourselves and having fun and finding out more issues. Additionally, I would like to encourage you, wherever you are on Sunday evening at 5 p.m., tune into ETV to watch a repeat of this program. And then the icing on the cake at 7 p.m., tune into Springboard, your virtual university on Joy FM, and on Monday at 5 p.m. on Joy Prime. It has been a real privilege coming your way this evening. And we look forward to seeing you next week. Till we meet again next week and we have some fun. Have a wonderful, and this time, I usually say enjoyable, but today it must be a productive week. God bless. Good night.